Good morning and welcome to the Child Care Business Coach. My name is Evelyn Knight. I am sorry I am a bit late today. It's been a morning already. My microphone wasn't working first. As I tried to go on live and just record, like I get these flashing like your microphone isn't working, something's not right. Thinking, what is going on here? I use these little microphones that are wireless because I tend to like to move around a lot. And apparently this one, see, this is my morning. It died on me. So then my webcam decided not to work. And so it's just been one of those things. Every time I've tried to hit that live button today, something isn't working. First my microphone, then my webcam. This is not my normal camera, so if it looks a bit different, not quite as professional, I'm just using my normal laptop camera. It's a little bit different than what I usually do. So normally I like to do this standing too, but apparently I'm going to have to sit today. I don't normally like to go live with you guys sitting down because it's just different. I don't know. I don't know. It's just different. It's me. Well, but good morning, everybody. Say hello as you pop in. Let me know how you're doing. Today, kind of hilarious, actually, with all of this happening. The topic I'm really thinking, like I chose to talk to you guys about is really, are you enough, right? It's the energy, right, Lisa? Yes. And I know I can correct that energy, though. I cannot own this energy. Right now, I do. I absolutely agree with you. Lisa in the chat says it's the energy. It is, but I'm going to talk about something right now that I had no idea I was going to talk about because this is where I'm being led. So we're probably going to have, well, we'll see. We will go back to my original, but because it has been one of those mornings for me since the moment I woke up late, I apparently silenced my alarm. And when I did, I overslept. I didn't. And you get, so for those of you who don't know, I have 4 dogs. Normally there's no oversleeping in my house, which I don't like to oversleep anyway. I like getting up early in the morning. I love it. For those of you who know, my morning routine is so important to me. Well, this morning I way overslept. I silenced my alarms. My dogs decided to sleep in. I overslept, didn't get my morning routine. When I don't get my morning routine, I feel like chaos. My whole day feels chaotic, right? But then things started going wrong, like trying to go live and my camera's not working. Then first it was my mic, then it's my camera. It's one thing after another. But what I have to stop and ask myself, and I'm going to coach myself right here live in front of all of you, since I am in the middle of this as we speak, I can show you what I go through to pull myself out of these funks, because I definitely woke up this morning in a funk. But I get to choose. Am I going to allow this funk to continue? Or am I going to choose to overcome it? By the way, the other thing I woke up to this morning is my furnace is out. I don't have heat in my house. So that was the other wonderful thing to wake up to. Maybe that's why we all slept in, because there's no heat. It's nice and cool in the house at 55 degrees inside my house, which I'm thankful that I live in a home that I can actually be at 55 degrees when it's 20 degrees outside. So that is something to be thankful for. But waking up and it's just one thing stacking, right? You just have those things stacking. I still get to choose. I still get to choose. On average, a person is awake for 14 hours in a day. That's average person is awake for 14 hours. The first 2 hours of my day, nothing has gone right. I'm not going to lie, and I'm not going to sugarcoat it. Okay, no sugarcoating for me. Everything has gone wrong. I woke up late, very late. I missed my morning routine. That is extremely important to me. That means I didn't get to exercise today. I didn't get to do any kind of devotional, which that is hugely important to me. I didn't get to hear my motivational stuff I like to. And as you could tell by my hair, I had to throw up my hair really fast, right? I just had to throw things together. Plus my heater was out. I have no heat. And everything just started to happen, literally, from the moment I woke up. But I still get to choose. Out of a 14-hour day, am I really going to allow these 2 hours to dictate the rest of my day? Am I really going to say, oh my gosh, today's going to be an awful day because all of this stuff is happening? No. Do I want to? Oh yeah, there's a big part of my brain that says, Evelyn, just take the rest of the day off. You're working on stuff today. You really don't have appointments. You just have to write. You have to do this and that. Just crawl back into bed. It's going to be one of those days. Those thoughts absolutely enter my mind. every single day. But I have to stop and I have to tell myself, no, I am not allowing this type of thinking. It is my choice. I get to choose how I'm going to move forward for the rest of my day. Just because the first 2 hours of my day did not go the way I would like to see them go does not mean that the rest of the 12 hours have to be bad. I could still go off to have one of the best days of my life. I am in control and I get to choose how the rest of my day goes. And I am not going to give a couple of negative events the power over my life or my day to dictate how I move on with the rest of my day. Now, if I go on with the rest of my day with a bad attitude, then yeah, I'm going to have a bad day. I will. But that's my fault for choosing to be in the negative. That's my fault for holding on to these things. So, just my little spiel really quick. I know I just took 6 minutes of your time, but I think it's important. And just real life, that's what it is. This is real life. And it's what happens, and we each get to choose how we're going to move forward every single day. We get to choose good thing, bad thing, who knows? Maybe it's a good thing. Maybe had I woken up and gotten up early enough to do my workout, something might have happened. I don't know. So either way, I am thankful that even though I don't have heat in my home right now, I live in a home that's so well insulated that it's 55 degrees inside, and I have space heaters everywhere and pellet stoves. I'm thankful for what I have instead of the negative. Did my webcam go out? Yeah, but I'm thankful I have a backup. I'm thankful for that. And I'm thankful I'm still here. Even I was late and it felt like everything didn't go right. I'm still so incredibly thankful. No matter what you're facing, there's Thanksgiving to find in it. There's always something to be thankful for, no matter what. I know it doesn't feel like that, but if you search deep, you'll find it. So today, though, I do want to talk about a very, very important topic. And I'm sorry, but I just felt that was important. Today, I want to talk about just that being enough. And I can tell you, this is something I really, really struggle with big time. So many of you hop on here every week. You listen to my podcast, you watch my shows, you do all the things, you're in my group. And so many of you just send me messages like, wow, you're amazing. Wow, this. And I wish I could be more like you. And secretly, I hold back and I think to myself, why? Why do you think I'm so, why? And I don't get it, right? And most of the time, it's a huge struggle. I have big time imposter syndrome, big time, where I really struggle with this feeling that I'm just not enough. And that has led me down a rabbit hole. And lately, God has really brought this one into my ecosystem. And so many of you have been reaching out to me. Last week, I spoke to 4 of my members about this very problem, and which is why I decided that it is big enough to do a Mindset Monday on. And this is going to be a 2-part Mindset Monday because there are 2 different trains of thoughts that happen here. There's people who either have to achieve more and more and more and more, and it's never enough. And that's me. Don't matter how many achievements you have, no matter what you create, you never stop having this feeling that you're not enough. That is me to a T. The second camp is people who don't meet their goals and who don't get to where they want because they feel like they don't deserve it. So they constantly self-sabotage and they set themselves up for failure because they feel like they don't deserve all the things in the life that they want. So they live this never-ending cycle of self-sabotage and they reinforce the stories that they're telling themselves. So for that second group, what happens is they want these dreams and goals, but they choose and they make wrong choices and they do things and then they reinforce the stories they've been telling themselves like, yeah, I'm just not smart enough. I'm just not good enough. I'm just not. But what happens is it's called a self-fulfilling prophecy where you actually make it come true for you. And you actually set yourself up for failure, to be honest. You do the same things over and over again because you're reinforcing the stories. Your subconscious mind takes over and you reinforce the stories. For me, I'm the opposite. I'm a high achiever. I come up with a goal and I achieve, especially if someone tells me it can't be done. Especially. That is my biggest motivator. Tell me it can't be done and I will find a way. I'm brilliant at finding out of the box things that nobody's ever thought of. And that sounds like a great thing, right? It sounds amazing and it sounds like I'm bragging, but it's actually not. I mean, it's a good trait to have, but it's my why behind it is not a good thing. My why is that I always feel like I have to prove myself. I never feel like I'm worthy or that I'm good enough. So I have to go after the next big thing. If you tell me I can't do something, in my mind, you're telling me I'm not good enough. I mean, you could be totally logical, like, hey, Evelyn, that can't be done. I mean, come on. I mean, look at Elon Musk, right? Elon Musk probably has huge, huge imposter syndrome. When you think of the fact that it's like, tell him he can't go to the moon and he's going to be like, oh, watch me. Which is, it's not a bad thing, but and maybe he doesn't. I mean, it could be that he really just wants to do this. But most people who are higher achieving, usually that can come from a place of trauma. Being a high achiever can actually be a major trauma response. And what ends up happening to us is we just have to keep doing the next thing, because deep down inside, we feel like we're not good enough. I once upon a time thought that I just had to do more, right? And I'll take you through my college experience. When I graduated from high school, I had to have a college degree. I had to, because if I was going to be professional enough, good enough, I had to have a college degree. So I got my associate's degree. And as I was getting it, I thought, I got to get this degree, and then that'll make me good enough. I'll be accepted. Got it. And I didn't really even celebrate, because I said to myself, but it's not a bachelor's. And until I get my bachelor's degree, I'm not professional enough. I need my bachelor's. So I got my bachelor's. I didn't even go to I actually never went to a single one of my college graduations. I'm not going to sugarcoat it or lie. I never went to a single graduation ceremony. My high school graduation was the only one I went to, because it seemed senseless to me. I just was like, why? Why am I celebrating my bachelor's degree? It's not enough. I need my master's. When I get my master's, I will celebrate. That's when I'll walk down that aisle. But it's just a bachelor's. It's not, what does that make me? It's not graduate school. So I went back to college. And this is when I realized I had a problem. As I was finishing up the classes that I needed, I looked at my life and I told myself, when I get my master's, I will walk down that aisle. That's when I'm going to celebrate. But I didn't want to. I suddenly decided, no, it's not a PhD. Until I get my doctorate, I'm still nothing. I need that title. My brother's a doctor. Even if it's a doctorate in psychology and I'm not a medical doctor, I still have the title of Dr. Knight, right? That's when I realized I had a problem. And I just stopped and I told myself, whoa, wait. What do you mean? No, this was supposed to be it. This was supposed to be what made me something. But it didn't. And so I got to the point where I thought, no, I have to stop now. This is enough. I'm not doing this. And I told myself that if this didn't make me feel enough, I was never going to feel like it was enough. To the point that I never even processed that degree. And if you guys ever notice as I'm speaking, I always say that I have a psychology degree that emphasizes on neurological development. The reason I say that is because I never processed my master's degree. I went and I took all the classes, but I never actually made it official. And I did it on purpose because I had to prove to myself that I didn't need those initials behind my name to be something. I had to show, and I still do. I still really struggle with this. And there's times, all the time, where I tell myself, you need to go back, you need to do this, you need those initials, you got to do it. And why not get your PhD? I'm only 18 months away. I could go 18 months and get my PhD, and I have And I am in rooms full of people and it's just like, oh, they got that title and I don't, maybe I need to. And I just tell myself, no, you will not do that. It doesn't mean you haven't earned it. And I tell myself all the time, you don't need those stupid little letters to make you something. But it is a constant struggle for me. This weekend, I did my Zoom dress rehearsal for the TED Talk I'll be doing at the end of this month. And I was incredibly nervous. I was so nervous. And I don't really get nervous talking anymore. I've talked in front of huge rooms of people. And I've done Zooms, not this Saturday, but the Saturday before, I had done a Zoom with over 1,000 people in it. And I didn't get nervous. Now here I am in front of about 25 people, and I was incredibly nervous. And the reason I was nervous is because the other speakers were watching, and half of them had their PhDs. Half of them were just what I felt so far above me. Then there was the TED panelist, and I just really felt like, what am I doing in this crowd? I'm not good enough to be around these people. And as I'm speaking, it made me so incredibly nervous, because I didn't feel good enough. Ironically, this is my second rehearsal with them. This was supposed to be like the final big rehearsal. And ironically, I was the only one that didn't get any kind of corrections, any revisions, was just told, you're good. And I was actually praised. My body language was great. My passion was good. And the others were told they were kind of robotic, different things like that. They had to bring citations in and all these things. And I had to tell myself, look, you are the only speaker who did not get corrected. Yet you still are telling yourself you're not good enough to be in the room with these people. You had half the room in tears, and you're telling yourself you're not good enough to be in the room with these people. When I did my first TED Talk a couple months ago, I didn't celebrate. And I've told you guys the story before, where one of my friends asked me, well, what are you doing to celebrate? And I thought, well, why would I celebrate? It's a TED Talk. And she said, people dream about getting TED Talks, and you have two. You just did your first, and now you've got another, and you're not going to celebrate? And that's when it really started hitting me. I don't celebrate my accomplishments because it never feels like enough. When I opened my first childcare center, I had to do it because being management, I was just a manager, but I had to become an owner. Then when I became an owner, it was, yeah, but my center's small. It's only licensed for 72. So I got a center twice the size. Then I hit that goal and I thought, yeah, but you only own one. Are you really good enough still? I mean, it's not that big a deal. You own one. So I had to buy another one. And then when I started this company, Childcare Business Professionals, I actually started my podcast first. And it was, yeah, but you're just an owner. What is that? And there was extenuating circumstances. I mean, don't get me wrong. These were not my only motivating factors, but they were a big factor in pushing me to do these things. So I had to go and start a podcast to prove myself. And one thing after, and then COVID hit and so many of you guys needed help. And I really started to step in, and I was getting so many messages from people on my podcast and different things that I stepped in to help. And it's just something I love. And that's a lot of how CCBP was born. And I knew I could give back. But bottom line is, every time I hit a milestone, there's a voice in my head. And I recently heard someone refer to those voices as little me. So I love that. And I'm going to refer to it as little me. I heard this voice of little me and not as my childhood me. Okay. So for some of you guys who've done like psychotherapy, you're thinking your child, but I'm going to talk more in that inferior, that voice. It makes you feel inferior. But this little me voice would come in and just, yeah, but you're not this, and you're not that, and you're not this, and people see you. I used to think, I really thought that I had to prove myself to other people. But in the last month, 2 months, I've gone through a pretty profound experience that made me realize I'm not proving myself to anybody but me. So this part's going to be hard for me. Just Just an emotional warning for you guys. But I realized that I haven't been proving myself because I thought I wasn't good enough in the world's eyes. I didn't need to get those initials because the world cared. I needed to do it because I didn't feel like I was enough. And I have spent my life trying to prove to me that I'm enough. Nobody ever asks me what degrees I have. I offer it all the time. But nobody asks. Nobody asks me how far I got in college. Nobody ever asks me to list my resume. It's in my head. That feeling of not enough. It's all in my head. And I've had so many of you guys reach out to me lately that I know it's in your head too. For so many of you, it's in your head too. And I'm here to tell you at this stage in my life, it's exhausting. I've accomplished so much. People look at me like, wow, I can't believe you did this and that. And I'm just like, it's not a big deal. And in my heart, I believe it's like, why do you admire me? Why do you think this is such a big deal? It's just, I have to do it. And I had to have a really serious talk about myself or to myself. And I really had to say, why? Why do you feel like you have to do this? This is great. This is big. You need to start celebrating your wins. You need to start feeling like you are enough. I found one of my old journals a couple of weeks ago from when I was 18. Or I'm sorry, my son is 18 now. It was 18 years ago because he was a baby when I wrote this journal. And my thought processes were pretty much the same. Like I was writing down when I accomplished this and when I accomplished that. And I was like, just saying like, oh, once I get to this stage, things will be so much easier. Life is going to be better. And this, and this. And God, God's timing is amazing. I mean, I'm going through these trainings and these experiences that really shined a light, and finding that journal, the timing could not have been more appropriate because 18 years ago, I thought my big milestone was going to be to hit $150,000 a year in income, and not just personal income, just period, just sales, whatever I had to do. And I have hit that 10 times. And in my mind, I'm still, yeah, but there's always that, yeah, but is it really enough? So if this is something you're struggling with, I want you to ask yourself a couple questions. Can I absolutely be sure that the stories I'm telling myself are true? The stories about me. When you have that little voice that comes into your head that tells you you're not good enough, and it never actually says, oh, come on, you're not good enough, right? It's these little things like, oh, look at that girl. She's so skinny. I wish I was skinny like that. I wish my butt was as tight and lifted, right? I'm just not enough. Or look at her waist. Her waist is so small. God, I wish I'm just not pretty like her. Or when you look at a person's degrees or what they appear like or how they speak or whatever, and you have this voice in your head telling you, I don't fit in because I want you to ask yourself, is this absolutely true? Take your emotions out of it and look at just the facts. What have you done? What accomplishments have you done? Look at just the facts and ask yourself, can I prove to me beyond a shadow of a doubt that the things I am telling myself about me are true? And if they're not, start a new dialogue in your head. Write it down and repeat it every single day. Every day. I have mine right there on my office wall. And I say it over and over and over and over and over again. Because I am going to convince my subconscious eventually, which I'm going to reprogram my subconscious to know that I am enough. I am good enough, and I am worthy of celebrating my accomplishments because you are too. I also want you to ask yourself, when I start believing these things that I say about me, what do I do? What is it that I do to myself when I start believing these things that I say about me? And start noticing these patterns of self sabotage. Whether you're self sabotaging because you think you're not enough and you have to accomplish, or you're self sabotaging and you're not meeting your goals, start asking yourself, what happened to me? Why do I believe this? And is it true? And write it down. The power of having things in words and repeating over and over again is what you need to reprogram your subconscious mind. You got to do it for at least 60 days too, by the way. I know a lot of people, the old data used to say 21 days, but new data actually leans towards 60 days. And 21 days is great too. You will start reprogramming. But if you want deep, deep, deep reprogramming in the recesses of your mind that you don't even know are taking over for you every day, do it for 60 days. And I know that sounds crazy. And some of you are like, 60 days? But really, you've been living your entire life like this. What's worse, repeating the same thing over and over again for 60 days or living the next 60 years like this? 60 days is nothing compared to your entire life. So some of you might be tearing up a little bit right now. This was a pretty heavy Mindset Monday. Some of you might be very emotional. If that is you and you're one of my members, reach out to my team. I want to talk to you. I know I'm pretty inaccessible, but this is something I've been really led to. I've talked to 3 of you guys last week because it's such a heavy topic right now. And I want to be there for my members. I want to be there for you guys. And I want you to know you're worth it. You're worth me making time in my schedule because you're worthy just how you are. And this is where I'm going to put my Jesus girl hat on. Jesus made each one of us perfect. We're perfectly flawed in his eyes. And if we're enough to him, then what are we saying when we tell ourselves that we're not enough to us? If the creator of the universe that placed the stars where they belong created you in his own image, then what are you saying about him when you're telling yourself you're not enough? We are fearfully and wonderfully made. Yes, I can't tell who that is but we are fearfully and wonderfully made. He made us perfect. Read the Song of Solomon if you need to see how God sees you. It is literally like a love story to us. He has given us amazing, right? Yes, with gifts that he has given us. Ouch. Yeah. I had at church yesterday, there was this moment, and I posted it on my Facebook yesterday where I was just like, oh my gosh, because I'm somebody who lives in shame and guilt, and I live in fear of shame and guilt. I live in shame, and it's the stupidest things. Like, my dishes aren't done. Oh my God, I'm so ashamed of my house because I went to bed last night with dishes in my sink, right? And I just had this epiphany as the pastor was preaching. I just realized, like, oh my gosh, me living with shame and guilt is like telling Jesus that what he did for me wasn't enough. So how many of you who are Christ followers as well, who love the Lord with all your heart, are literally telling Jesus that his sacrifice wasn't enough? That's what we got to stop. So, yes, Lauren Daigle, oh, that is a great one. Shaylin, that is awesome. But that's something I just really challenge you guys to ask yourself, and reach out to Lisa, your concierge, if you're one of my members. I'm sure she can figure out a time if you need to talk about this, because this is what God has really laid strongly in my heart for the last 2 weeks that so many of us are struggling with, and that I'm supposed to be helping with right now. That is what I'm being called for in this season, in these, I don't know if it's a month. I don't know. We'll see how long it is that God calls me for this one. But this is what I'm really being strongly called towards. If you're not a member yet and you're feeling this, join us. Come into this community where we can help you. These are the kind of things we help each other with. This is the kind of thing. Tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. Pacific time, we're going to get together in office hours. I'll be there. My amazing team will be there. And so will some incredible owners and directors. And we just get together and we talk about things like this. And we also talked about practical things like so-and-so called in for the 4th time this month. We talk about, but we do get deep sometimes because that's what we're here for. We're here to come alongside you so that you're not alone. You're not alone, and you don't have to be. That is one of the reasons I started CCBP, because at a time I felt so alone. I felt like I was an island and nobody around me understood what I was going through. And they really didn't. And when I got my first business coach, for the first time I realized I'm not alone anymore. I'm not alone anymore. People get me now. And that's why I want to be there for you guys. I want childcare business professionals to be there for you. I want you to have a place to run and hide. I really do. And I want us to have that community of people who get you. We get you. We get each other. I might lead the group, but you guys help me as much as I help you. Just knowing that I'm not alone in these struggles is so incredibly helpful. So put in the chat if that's something, or you can reach out to Lisa Marie Wadke in the chat. You can reach out to Mandy Mantello, whoever you guys see, and we can come alongside you. If you're on my YouTube channel, just also send a message and we can come alongside you as well. So I hope everybody has a wonderful week. It is going to be a great week, and it's going to be a great one day, even if the whole morning was crazy and I don't have heat. I have space heaters. I don't, right? I'll get my furnace fixed. It's going to be a wonderful, beautiful week. And I hope you guys all take that to heart too, that we don't need to let the first 2 hours of a day ruin a 12-hour day, right? Or 5-day week. I get to choose. We get to choose everything. I get to choose to feel like I'm enough. I get to choose to be thankful to Jesus for his sacrifice for me. I get to choose how the rest of my day is going to go. And I'm going to get to choose every day to see myself as good enough and as worthy. So I hope you do too. Have a wonderful day, everybody.